Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience, where we discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience, and we have a great guest today, Dennis Sullivan, the president of Breakthrough Marketing Pros. We're going to talk about rebranding, but let's talk a little bit about him. He's known as the turnaround artist from his work at Argosy LLC and Agora Inc., as well as working with hundreds of businesses while helping to revive struggling products with innovative branding and compelling marketing. He's also a fellow author. He's the author of the book, The Breakthrough One-Page Marketing Plan, and is an associate professor at the Community College of Baltimore County. He's a former fellow at Johns Hopkins University and the recent recipient of ACBSP's International Teaching Excellence Award, making him one of the top 2 business professors in the world. Wow, I'm going to learn a lot from this show just from that aspect alone. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ken. Pleasure to be with you.
Pleasure is all mine. It's great to have you. Why don't we start off a little bit with your work at Breakthrough Marketing Pros? I want to hear a little bit about that, and I know our audience is going to be really interested as well.
Sure. Just by way of background, what most people find interesting is that I started my career as a newspaper reporter. I was a journalist for a number of years. And I took one business class in college, which is kind of ironic because now I teach business. But I took one business class in college and I dropped it. I hated it. It was the worst class I ever took. It was boring. It was dry. And I became a writer, journalist for a number of years. And what ended up happening is I came up through the ranks and getting involved in marketing the publications that we had. And then developing conferences, developing new products out of it. And it was fun. I had a blast.
Nice.
And so as I started getting into that more, I said, well, do you guys have a training program for me now that I'm getting into this management program? Because I haven't taken any business classes. And they said, well, we don't. So I ended up getting my MBA and enjoyed that as well. And then I went on to start my own company, ran a couple companies, and as you mentioned, over the course of my career, I've launched over 100 different products and services. But during that time, I was getting the publications that were struggling. They weren't doing well. So it gave me an opportunity to dive into it, to develop the branding, develop the people, the organizational aspect, the whole business strategy behind it, and had a blast. When I went out on my own, I thought I was going to be a consultant to other publishers. And I quickly found out they don't need me. And what was interesting is that we live in this content world now, this information world, where all kinds of businesses need content, need marketing for their business. So I end up working with landscapers, deck builders, other publishers now, hospitals, credit unions, banks, financial planners. It's all over the board. Pharmaceutical companies, and the strategies that we use apply to any business.
Right.
So, and that's what's kind of unique about it. A lot of people tell me, well, what do you know about our business that you can help with? And I said, I'm not the expert in your business. You are. But what I'm an expert at is taking a strategy that we can apply to your business to help grow it. And it's worked in a variety of different businesses.
Yeah, no, some really great points in what you just said in terms of your background. The irony is I have degrees in finance and entrepreneurship, and had this great opportunity to be a marketing VP. Enjoyed marketing, even though everybody told me, "No, don't go to college for marketing. Go be an accountant or whatever." I was like, I hate accounting, and I wound up, having to go back to school even after my MBA to get basically a pseudo degree in marketing in order to get that job. So, it's interesting how things kind of turn around. And you made many important points, don't get me wrong. But one that I really, really keyed on is I get the same thing is, well, what do you know about our business? And I work with service-based businesses all the time. And it may be a restaurant. And I've never worked in a restaurant. I've never been a busboy, never waited tables, never been a hostess. But I always tell them, from a financial background, if I can make a great experience or a great brand from a credit union where people generally don't want to go. Nobody says, hey, I want to go get a loan today. I can't wait to go in there and, and get barraged with questions. But people actually want to go to restaurants. So think of what I can do to your brand and your experience to a place that people actually want to go. But let's circle to rebranding, because that could be a real tough thing. As I say in the tagline or the back of the tagline, a place where customers want to keep coming back. Once you change the name, you already change that consistency a little bit. And rebranding is more than just changing the name. Sometimes that's the whole structure and the experience and so forth. So tell us your experience in rebranding and maybe give us a couple of positive stories as an example for our audience out there.
Sure. And your point is a good one. A lot of times with the rebranding, sometimes you do need to change the name to reflect that new focus, that new strategy. Sometimes you don't. And sometimes you can keep the name and explain the changes that you're making. What's unique, I think, about how we approach things is a lot of businesses will start with the question, what? They'll ask, putting it up on the board, they'll say, what do we have to sell? What do we have to market that we can start moving? Mm-hmm. And that to me is the entirely wrong question to ask to begin. Instead, the better question to ask is who? Mm-hmm. Who is the target market, the segment that we really want to go after? Mm-hmm. Who is that ideal target market segment? And that's important and you'll see examples of people asking what on like Shark Tank. You ever watch that show?
Sure.
The inventor, somebody comes up with some new product or new idea for a business, and immediately the sharks are asking, well, who could use this?
Right.
Who is buying this? And for a lot of those young entrepreneurs that are starting out, they don't know. They don't know the answer to that question. What they're hoping is that the sharks are going to throw millions of dollars their way to help figure that out. Well, there aren't a whole lot of companies that have millions of dollars to just throw away to try to figure that question out. So we start with the question, who? Who is the target market you're really trying to serve? Mm-hmm. And then the next question we're asking is then what? And what we're asking here is, what is the problem? Mm-hmm. The solution, and then the benefit you have to offer. And you can only answer these questions, the problem, the solution, the benefit, by first starting with the question, who? Mm-hmm. Who is it we're trying to serve? And where people get hung up on is many of them say, well, we want to try to reach as many people as possible. Wrong. The more you can narrow that niche, the better. Mm-hmm. For example, let me ask you, Tim, if I were to say Ford, what immediately comes to mind?
Cars.
Okay. And particular, what kind of car?
The Ford Fairmont that I had as a teenager that continually broke down.
Okay, there you go. And what's interesting is what's happening to Ford now. They're getting out of the car business. Hmm. The only car that they're going to be making now is the Mustang. People know them for the Mustang. They rely on it. It's reliable, better than a Ford Fairmont, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And there's a demand for it. What people are shifting more towards are trucks and SUVs.
Right.
So Ford is focusing all of its marketing dollars now on the truck, built Ford tough.
Yep.
Even with all the money that Ford has, they are not trying to sell to everyone 16 years and older who has a license. They're not trying to serve them. They're specifically trying to serve people who want to haul stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be guys the weekend guy who wants to take his stuff to the dump and have something that he can haul stuff in every now and then, or the construction worker who needs something reliable
Mm-hmm.
every day, doesn't gets beaten up a little bit, or the woman who has a horse that she wants to haul to different shows, different events in her trailer.
Right.
Those are three very different market segments. The weekend guy who wants to haul stuff, he's taking it to the dump, wants something reliable, but he's more concerned about the comfort
Right.
of the truck. And also to be able to go to the store when he wants to, maybe go to a game in his truck. That's a very different market segment than the construction worker who needs something reliable each day and doesn't care too much about the ride, the comfort. That's not as important as how much can it haul, and is it going to hold up in the dirt and the mud and different types of weather. Versus a woman who wants to haul her horse,
Mm-hmm.
she's going to be worried about pickup, getting up and down hills, the reliability as well. But that's a very different market segment that they're trying to appeal to. So even though we're talking about trucks, it's three different segments.
Mm-hmm.
So the question we always want to come back to is who. Then we get into, well, what is the problem that they're wrestling with? What's the solution that we have to offer? And then tie it back. And what a lot of people forget is this last part. Even professional marketers, advertisers, you see it,
Right.
they forget to bring it back to, so therefore, this is how you benefit as
Right.
a result of that.
Right. No, great example. And, it never really thought of it because I haven't bought a Ford since that Fairmont in the late 80s, early 90s, late 80s, actually. But, in watching, a lot of sports, you see Ford commercials, and come to think of it, all I see is commercials for Ford trucks. I can't remember the last time I've seen a Ford car on a commercial. And you're spot on with the problem solution. I just came from the New Media Summit, which is a conference for trainers and podcasters and authors, thought leaders, so on and so forth. And one of the main themes was stop selling the product or service, sell the solution. And they also said you only know what problem you want to solve when you really decide, who it is that you're compelled to serve. I see this with restaurants and credit unions particularly. Restaurants where they'll have a menu that's thicker than a Bible, where you'll have everything from steak to spaghetti and meatballs to tacos to Szechuan. And you're like, all right, well, what are you really good at? Well, we're really good at nothing, but we can make anything on the menu and put it on a plate. And credit unions, you always seem to want to serve, well, it's just about the numbers. If we serve more people, we can make more net income. We can grow assets. Well, yeah, maybe in black and white, but, as I've seen being the founder of the Police Officers Credit Union Association, when a police credit union all of a sudden decides to serve firefighters, all right, well, that's not too much of a stretch, but you're watering it down a little bit. Now we're going to serve government employees. Now you're watering it down even more. And now let's serve teachers. Well, what the heck is that? I haven't seen teachers and police, really get along for a long time. And now you're going to serve and water down all this. So, you really do have to hone in on the who, that particular niche that you want to serve. And that, I would assume, leads to the rebranding question of, if we really do hone in on who we want to serve, do we have the right brand image for those particular folks? Does that sound accurate? Is that what you find as well, Dennis?
Yeah, exactly. And until you're defining who it is you want to serve, you're not going to be able to get into really what is driving them in terms of their wants and needs that you can help solve. Right. That conversation becomes a lot easier when you're able to define those things. And then that usually leads you to, okay, we do have something that we can offer. and here's how it can fit into what we already have, or we need to create something different. And when you start creating something different, then you start getting down the road of, okay, a rebranding, maybe a new look, feel. Give you an example. So you mentioned about the credit union convention.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who aren't too familiar with the credit union industry, there's a lot of consolidation that's going on right now. So on average, there's usually one credit union that is merging with another credit union. So the numbers are declining in terms of number of credit unions.
Mm-hmm.
Same things happen in the banking industry.
Right.
We've had a convention for now, we're going on our 43rd year. And traditionally, we serve the directors, the board of directors on those credit unions. Well, with all this consolidation that's been occurring, we're not going to be able to continue to grow by just serving that market.
Right.
So looking at that, we said, well, we need to expand. We want to continue to grow, we want to continue to offer more. And so what we decided to do was, well, let's serve more people than within that credit union. And we started with this question, who? Well, who is it? Who are those people? And leveraging what we did well, which was deliver good content that people can use for practical guidance, advice from other credit union solutions, bring in experts like yourself into the convention to be able to share their experiences working with clients. So we felt we had some really good content that could appeal to more than just directors. So what we did is we opened it up to everyone within the C-suite. There's chief marketing officer, chief lending officer, chief technology officer. And we identified 7 different areas within the credit union that we could serve. Still keeping in mind that we wanted to serve those directors and CEOs that was really the backbone of our convention. But then we got into the question, as we started talking about their problem, their solution, their benefit, the chief marketing officer has very different wants and needs than the chief technology officer.
Sure.
Chief marketing officer is looking at how we can do more loans, how we can grow our membership. Chief technology officer is worried about cybersecurity attacks, data and fraud prevention. Right. Those are very different wants and needs. So what we did is we created 7 different conferences within our convention. So we could say to that CMO, yes, we have a marketing summit just for you, right, that's wrapped inside this larger event with the convention. And to the chief lending officer, we have very specific things for you with sessions on indirect lending, direct lending, how to price loans, all those things that the chief lending officer is going to care about that a chief technology officer may not.
Right.
And so starting back to this question, we were able to identify, okay, the problems, the solutions, and immediately became obvious that we can't just have our traditional convention and just say, we're going to invite these other people to come along. Mm-hmm. We actually had to create 7 different conferences within that larger convention. And we rebranded it, and we now call it the Credit Union Leadership Convention, because we know that those C-suite level leaders want to become more leaders within their credit union, their organization, and we can help them do that. Right. So a lot of times with the rebranding, you're not just looking at the demographics, the psychographics, but also the aspirational focus.
Sure.
Where do people want to be? And how can you help them get there as part of your solution? And the benefit then is that they feel confident about spending money with you because you're going to help them get to someplace they couldn't get otherwise.
Right. Right. Great points. And full disclosure to the audience, the way that I had the pleasure of meeting Dennis is Dennis was nice enough to let me speak at the last CU leadership convention. I actually have had the opportunity to be at your event once a long time ago when it was called, I believe, the Directors Conference. Where I was there as a guest or an attendee with a credit union CEO and got to experience a little bit Then I was there as a exhibitor for Credit Union Business Magazine, and then I was there as a speaker. So I've gotten a chance to not only see it from a few different angles, but also see it, especially from that time that I was a guest to the time this year that I was a speaker. Quite a vast change. Nothing better or worse, just very different from when I was a guest. So maybe you could talk about from a rebranding standpoint, because I thought that the experience each time, but especially this last time, that the experience for everybody involved, whether it be the speakers, the attendees, even the team, and that's one of the things that I look for from a culture standpoint. The team was on point. Everybody seemed to actually want to be there. Nobody seemed like, oh, I got to take care of this, arrogant speaker over here. He asked for water with lemon. Now I got to go out of my way. No, I wasn't the one that asked for water with lemon. When you got up to the desk, they smiled. They were legitimately seemed, whether that was true or not, I don't know, but they legitimately seemed like they were happy to be there and were pleased to be a part of this overall experience. So you created a great experience for everybody that was part of the event. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about, from a rebranding standpoint, how you do create that great experience for a program like that.
Yeah, and we hold the event in Las Vegas. So the bar is high.
Yeah.
We have to create a good experience there. And we know we're competing with everything else going on in Las Vegas. So we do try to make sure that people enjoy themselves while they're there. And we have, our three mantras that we come back to all the time is discover, experience, grow. Mm-hmm. So discover new ideas, new solutions that are going to help you. But the experience is huge. So we have speakers that we're bringing in from outside the industry to help inspire people, motivate people. And then we also have the practical guidance that fits into that third piece with grow. We want to help you grow as a person in your role at the organization and also help grow your business.
Right.
So those are the three things that we come back to all the time that we're asking ourselves, how are we doing that? And so the experience piece is important. Everything from when people arrive, we have over 1,500 people attending. So we want to make sure that people are able to navigate around a big place like Caesars. So we have people who are positioned when they come into the hotel to help guide them as to where they need to register, where they need to go for the meetings later that day. We have people positioned everywhere to help guide them through and answer their questions. And I appreciate everything you're saying about our staff. I can't take all the credit for that. We have a really good operations team who has just dedicated people who enjoy what they're doing, and they work hard. It's long days, starting at well before 6 a.m. sometimes, going till 8, 9 o'clock at night, and doing it all over again. And hopefully you can sleep on the plane on the way home. But, and they love what they do, and they take a lot of pride in their work. And I appreciate saying that. I'm definitely going to pass that along to our people.
No, well, people that listen to or watch this show or read any of my content know that if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't have said it. If it was the other way, I might not have just said anything, but I definitely felt that, and that's why I said it. And you deserve at least a little bit of the credit, frankly, because as I talked with another colleague, Henry Lopez, on culture on the How of Business, that the leader of a team, whether it's a business or an event or so forth, either needs to create that type of environment in one way, shape, or form, or at the very least, get out of the way and let other people create that environment and be smart enough to know, okay, we've got a good culture, we've got a good morale here. At the very least, to not screw that up is a huge, huge thing. So one way or another, you deserve some credit, Dennis. But let's get back to rebranding real quick. If there are service-based businesses, and I know there are in our audience, that may be looking at a rebranding for one reason or another. What is possibly the number one tip you would give a service-based business, whether it be a credit union, restaurant, hair salon, fitness center, whatever it is, on rebranding that they should really, really think of or implement?
Great question. And what I always encourage people to do is always come back to this question, who?
Yep.
Who is it that we're trying to serve?
Right.
And if you find yourself saying everybody, that's wrong. That's the
Right.
wrong answer. You're not trying to serve everybody. You can't. Let me give you a quick example. So I was working
Please.
with a mortgage company, and they wanted to offer refinancing. And they said, well, who should we target here with the refinancing, especially when rates are still pretty low?
Mm-hmm.
And we started looking at it a little bit more and realized that a good market to serve would be veterans.
Hmm.
And the reason is because oftentimes when veterans and people who are in the military, they get approval for loans, but their interest rates tend to be a little bit higher than the rest of the population because they don't have as much cash to put down up front.
Right.
So what we did is we targeted veterans in a refinancing campaign. Yeah, we could target anybody, a homeowner, but we zeroed it down to specifically veterans. We also, and we test things too. That's another important thing.
Yeah.
What you may think may be your target market may not be. And it's important to test these things. So one of the things that we did, for example, this is a different mortgage company. What we did is we had different segments. And one of the segments that we thought would be good would be those with a lot of debt. And so we tested it with people who had one credit card maxed out versus two. We were thinking if they had one credit card maxed out, well, they probably still have enough cash that they would be interested in doing a refinancing to be able to fund like a new deck, a vacation, or expansion of their home, or send their kid off to college. However, what we found is that those with at least two credit cards maxed out and a lower credit score were our best prospects because there was more urgency.
Right.
They were the ones who were more compelled to take action than simply the ones with one credit card maxed out. And so that's obviously information you get from the credit bureau to get that type of information. But we really zeroed in on who we could best serve, and then we tracked it. We compared those results, and then the next time around, we were able to even focus it more based on the credit scores that we got from the phone calls and the interest that we received from prospects. So it's important to test these things too.
Right.
And a little bit of money, see what works, see what doesn't work, and just as importantly, being able to track it.
Yeah.
So with for example, back to the credit union, just in those 7 summits, we were able to track how our marketing did for each one of those titles. And we were surprised to see who were some of our best registrants, where we got the best response was not what we had anticipated.
Wow. Interesting. Great example. It goes back to one of my colleagues who is probably one of my favorite credit union CEOs. He talks all about analytics. And I think for some of the marketing folks out there that may be banging their head up against the wall and working with some CFO type CEOs, that if you can bring that tracking, if you can bring those analytics, that makes your life a little bit easier when you want to do that ad campaign or that social media program or what have you. Last question, Dennis. Where can people best find you if they need help with rebranding or some of the other services that you offer?
Sure. I'm at breakthroughpros.com, breakthrough and then pros.com. And we offer a 1-hour consultation, no charge, just to see if we can help in some way. If we can't, usually we can recommend somebody who can, and talk through it. We also offer a 90-day challenge in which we work with anybody who's interested, and we find we're a good fit, and we promise that we can turn around your business in 90 days or less, or your money back.
Wow, that's a great promise.
Yeah, and usually what we do is we're able to generate 10 times the return on the investment. If we can't do that, then that's it's not worth it. And to your point about the analytics, that's huge. We want to be able to track the progress.
Right.
And in all the things that I'm saying, it's not about, hey, maybe we should try this, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. That's not it. We have to make a sound justification to say we're making this move because we're anticipating that we're going to be able to increase revenue or increase profitability X amount, right. And then we're going to measure against that goal with our objectives and everything that we're doing to be able to make sure that we're working towards that. Because if we're not, then we're just spinning our wheels.
Yep. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. The measurement of goals is just as important as goal setting because just setting them isn't going to cut it. But Dennis, thank you so much for being on the show. So much good knowledge and wisdom that you've been able to share. Really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dennis. And thank all of you for joining us on Branding the Experience. Now a word from our sponsor, Bader Training and Consulting. BTC is the creator of the B+C+S formula. Our clients that implement that formula increase their net income by 124% and grow their business by 17% on average. The best place to start working with Bader Training and Consulting is with our B+C+S audit. The service pinpoints issues as well as attributes of your business's unique brand, culture, and strategy. Learn more or sign up for a B+C+S audit at www.btcinc.net/BCS-audit.